Today, we are going to dive into a really ancient story that has a message that feels, well, incredibly modern. It's a tale about a poison river, a divine hero, and a truly fearsome serpent. But really, it's about confronting the venom that we all carry inside ourselves. So, let's get into it.
Okay, so picture this. We start at the Yamuna River. This was once the heart of the village of Vrindavan, a place of life and joy. But now, something has gone terribly wrong. A mysterious poison is coursing through its waters, turning this vibrant river into a silent, deadly trap. And the devastation was just absolute. I mean, birds that just flew over the water would suddenly drop dead from the sky. The villagers' beloved cows would take a sip from the river's edge and just collapse. There was this foul, poisonous fog hanging over everything, a constant, ugly reminder of the death that was now flowing through their home. You have to wonder, what could possibly be the source of an evil this powerful?
Well, the source wasn't a chemical spill or some kind of abstract curse. No, it was a living, breathing creature. And that brings us to our first part, understanding the reign of this serpent demon, Kaliya. So, who exactly is this Kaliya? Well, he was this enormous, multi-headed serpent, just dripping with arrogance and cruelty. But here's the thing, his evil wasn't really born from strength. It was born from fear. You see, he was hiding out in this one specific spot in the river because a special curse prevented his mortal enemy, the divine eagle Garuda, from ever going there. He basically found a perfect safe house, and he was poisoning it from the inside out. And right here, we get a really crucial insight. Kaliya thought he'd escaped his problem, Garuda, but he never escaped himself. See, the real poison wasn't just the stuff he was spewing into the water. It was the venom of his own pride and his own fear. And that's such a powerful lesson, isn't it? Hiding from our problems, whether it's a tough conversation or a big failure, it never actually solves the turmoil inside. That fear and that pride just fester, and they turn into their own kind of cruelty. This really sets up the central conflict of the story perfectly. On one side, you have Kaliya, the literal source of poison, who's hiding in fear and is just consumed by his own pride. And on the other side, we have our hero, the young Krishna. He's the source of life, he faces danger head-on, and he embodies pure compassion. It's the classic battle of darkness and light.
So, how does light respond when faced with this kind of darkness? Well, that brings us right to our second section, the hero's leap. This is all about a divine response to the suffering that Kaliya had caused.
Krishna didn't stand back and make a plan. He didn't send somebody else to do the dirty work. No, he saw the pain of his friends, of the villagers, of the animals he loved, and he just acted. He climbed a tall kadamba tree right there on the riverbank, and, without even a second of hesitation, he leaped directly into the heart of the poisoned water.
And this right here illustrates a core truth about what it means to be a hero. Krishna's courage wasn't just him being reckless, it was fueled by this incredibly deep compassion. He wasn't trying to show off his power. He was acting as a protector, and a true protector always puts themselves on the front line.
Of course, Kaliya was not happy about this intrusion. I mean, he was enraged that his toxic little sanctuary had been invaded. So he erupts from the depths and attacks. The giant serpent wraps his massive coils around the young boy, squeezing with all his might, trying to just crush the life right out of him.
Just try to imagine the absolute horror of the villagers watching from the shore. Their hero, their beloved Krishna, is completely trapped by this monster. From their perspective, it looked like evil had won. You have to ask, was this the end?
But of course, it wasn't. And that leads us to the absolute climax of the story in Section 3, the Serpent's Dance. It's all about crushing pride, one single step at a time. Just when all hope seemed lost, Krishna does something incredible. Using his divine power, he effortlessly expands his body and just slips free from Kaliya's coils. And then he does something truly extraordinary. He leaps onto the serpent's many hoods, and he begins to dance.
Now, this wasn't a victory dance. It was a dance of purification. With every single graceful step, Krishna stomped down on one of Kaliya's heads, but he wasn't crushing his skull, he was crushing his arrogance. You see, the point here wasn't to kill the serpent, it was to subdue the monstrous ego that had made him a source of poison in the first place.
This dance is really a symbol of a gradual process. Divine grace doesn't always work like a lightning strike, right? A lot of the time, it works step by step, slowly purifying that inner poison and dismantling the ego that creates it. So after the ego is subdued, what happens next? Do you expect punishment? Vengeance? Nope. Let's move to our fourth section and see what happens. Mercy for the demon and the ultimate triumph of forgiveness.
Beaten and completely exhausted, Kaliya finally gives up. His pride is shattered. And in that moment, his wives, the Nagapatnis, come forward. They don't make excuses for him. They just bow in total humility and pray to Krishna, begging him to spare their husband's life.
And Krishna, being the literal embodiment of compassion, shows him mercy. He doesn't kill Kaliya. Instead, he just tells him to leave the river and go back to his real home in the ocean. And then, in this incredible act of grace, Krishna leaves his divine footprints on Kaliya's heads, a mark that would now protect the serpent from his old enemy, Garuda. And this right here might be the most profound lesson in the whole story. True victory isn't about destroying your enemy. It's about transforming them. The goal was to get the poison out of the river and out of Kaliya's heart, but to preserve the life itself. It shows us that mercy is so much greater than punishment.
It's an amazing story for sure, but what does a serpent demon from thousands of years ago have to do with us today? Let's break that down in our final section, the poison within us.
You see, Kaliya isn't just some monster in a story. He's a symbol for our own inner serpent, our ego, our pride. His venom? That's our own anger, our jealousy, that bitter feeling you get from scrolling social media or the sting of imposter syndrome. And his hiding place in the Yamuna? Well, that's like the dark corners of our own minds, where we let those toxic thoughts just sit and fester.
So the story basically gives us a roadmap for our own inner purification. Step 1, we have to recognize and actually acknowledge our inner Kaliya, our ego, our anger. Step 2, we need to invite a higher power, some force of compassion and grace, whatever that means to you, symbolized here by Krishna, to help us out. And step 3, and this is key, the goal isn't to destroy yourself. It's to dance on that pride, to subdue the ego step by step without harming our true self.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. The story of Kaliya isn't just something that happened once a long time ago. It's a process that can happen inside every single one of us. So the question for all of us to reflect on is this: what inner serpent, what pride, what fear, what anger is coiled up inside you, just waiting for its dance?